We always say you put it on the player and everything like that. Why couldn't he do it at Florida when you brought in some of these guys that were highly recruited and everything, and you couldn't even get nobody to play nowhere close to what these three guys are playing like. But again, I think a lot of it is you there with that system for a while, and you're gonna take it. I think Urban at Florida lost a lot of interest once Tim left. As soon as Tim left, he lost a ton of interest.
It's not even that. It's not even that, man. It's
plus the other stuff I heard about. But
you heard about, but that's alleged. That's not an alleged allegation. But the other thing is that some people are not. Some people's systems fit better other places than they do in other conferences. For example, Brett Bielema at the University of Arkansas, his run first, knock it down your throat style of offense fit well in the Big Ten. How's it doing in the SEC? The verdict is still out. Urban Meyer's style of offense is designed for the Big Ten. In the SEC, Tim Tebow is an anomaly as a quarterback, a great college quarterback. I'm critical of him as a pro, but he was a great college quarterback. And once he lost him, I'm sorry, Brantley wasn't going to do it, and it was going to be quickly brought to the forefront that Meyer's system would not survive in the SEC. I believe that's a lot of. I believe that's a lot. A lot of it has to do with that too. Yeah. Gotcha. It's a system thing. Let's be real.
Should be fun though.
It's going to be an interesting game. It pisses me off. It don't kick off till like 9:15.
I know. I hate games. Fucking A. I'm ready to go to bed.
Well, it's that West Coast shit, man. You know what? If you're going to play a game at 9:15, play it on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Not a Monday. Not a Monday.
You know good and well it's going to be, commercial every 9 minutes. It's almost like Super Bowl volume commercials.
Yeah.
So.
Wonder how much commercials went for during this game.
All right, let's talk about their running backs. Both of these teams' running backs. On one side, you got Freeman for Oregon and you got Elliott for Ohio State. Freeman had 13,000 yards approximately. Elliott had 16,000.
1,300 yards, you mean?
Yeah, 1,300. I don't know.
I'm about to say 13,000.
I don't know why I said 1,000.
All they did was run around the world a bunch of times.
1,343 yards to be exact.
There we go.
1,632 yards to be exact from Mr. Elliott there, Ezekiel Elliott. So, y'all want to talk about their games at all? Want to just kind of expand on them a little bit?
One's based on the whole defense on one side is pooped, so you hit them with the running game. The other side is we're going to pound you with our quarterback and our running back. So it's the two. These two systems so much alike, but yet could not be so different. One of these systems is they're both spreads. One of them is fast, quick, try to get the quick hitter. The other one is wear you down. We'll still spread you out, but we're basically spreading you out to run the ball through you. And that's the difference between these two. They can't. They're similar but different. And it's one of those things to where this is going to be the greatest contrast of styles that we've seen in the game, where both of them basically run the same type of offense, but different versions of each type of offense.
I think that Freeman could be the X factor.
Yes.
All you've heard is about Mariota. All you've heard about is the passing game, the fast, high tempo offense. He could actually be a big part in this game, based on the fact that you forget Oregon does have a decent running game. 1,300 yards is over 100 yards a game in college football in a pass heavy offense. He can get loose if given the right time. I look for Freeman to have a big game.
God have mercy.
We'll touch on them in a second there.
Good God.
So let's talk about it, and we'll come out to the court.
Now you can go into the 10,000s.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Good
so
God.
we'll come back in that in a little bit. I want to have y'all keys about that, and we'll touch that. Now, as far as the college football system, Kevin, I want to ask you, and I think I asked you before, but now that you and John are on here, I want to get both y'all opinion on this. As far as this year, did they get this right?
As far as this year, did they get it right? No, I still don't think they got it right. There's 2 teams that were left out that should have been there, and just got jumped over for no apparent reason whatsoever. They just got jumped over. And no, I don't think they got it right. Is it fun? Yes. I think they've done a good job based that you could have had in the old system FSU and Alabama as your national championship game. But we got entertained by the first 2 games, and then we get this game. So, but I still don't think they got it right. Just because you left out, especially you left out one team that really showed during their bowl game that they deserved to be here.
Mm-hmm.
The other team, not so much because they got beat, but still there were 2 teams that got jumped that didn't do nothing except win, but still got jumped. So no, I don't think they got it right.
Your thoughts on this, John?
It will all be fixed and won't be fixed until every conference is a champion.
Yep.
We determine who the major conferences are. Notre Dame gets into a conference, and we go that way. You give me 8 to 10 conferences. Everyone has a conference championship game. You win the championship, you're in the playoffs. Top 2 teams get a bye. You can do that with 10, or you can do it with 8 legitimately. But things have to change. Notre Dame has to get over the fact the NBC deal. They might have to share that, get into a conference, and start playing there. You need the Big 12 screwed themselves by not having a conference title. That is what happened. Once they get it right, and once they figure out how to do that, you'll be happy.
Yeah.
Because then it'll come down to solely records, and it won't be a couple of people up in the office somewhere voting.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Then they'll find something else to piss and moan about.
Yeah.
Sports fans, college football fans will not be happy ever.
I would like the 8. I would like the 8-game system, or the 8-team system, where you take the 5 conferences that are already here now, conference champ plays, the 5 conference champs in the game, in the playoffs. Then you take the 3 other teams based on losers of the championship games, whatever, and put them in it as well. Notre Dame just needs to go ahead and join the ACC and be done with it. They're already playing the ACC schedule. They're going to start. They started this year, and they're really going to start next year. So they might as well do it and just be done with it. That way, they're in a conference.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and ask this question to you, John. Again, because it seems like y'all both leaning toward this way. But everybody was asked about this, and he's actually is against the expansion.
Of course he is.
He said, "Well,
why wouldn't you be? You play in
course
a
he
major conference. Why wouldn't you be against the expansion?
yeah." He was saying,
nobody in the SEC, Big 12 or Big 10, Pac-10, conferences like that are going to be against it because you know what? Because there's an underlying fear at the bottom of their guts that a team like Texas Christian might just beat you. There's that fact that Baylor might just beat you. They don't want to do that. Plus, these big power conferences, or should I say corporations, because that's what they really are. These big corporations, they don't want to share money with a little guy, and that's what it comes down to.
"Yeah, he was."
Of course, he's against it. That would be like. That's like Coach K said, Duke's against the tournament and going to add an extra week so every team can be included. It's the same thing.
He was saying, as far as mine, he was like, if they do that, they better expand the number of scholarships given. Saying that, like, now some of these games are pretty much playing like heavyweight prize fight because you're playing the best of the best. You're not playing some of these teams that are not as good as they were the cupcakes, we like to call them on the show.
He makes they better expand the scholarship, but you know what? How is that fair? If that makes college football, that adds that. The good thing about the NFL is the parity in the NFL. Let me give you an example. The Pittsburgh Steelers won the AFC North this year. Granted, they got beat last week, but they're the AFC North champions. Can you tell me one team they lost to? I can. The 2-14 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's parity.
Mm-hmm.
So why not open it up? That way, that kid who wants to go to the Big 12 school, who wants to go to that smaller school in another conference, has a chance to say, I can play for a national championship. It opens up parity. That's why he doesn't want it. That's why these big schools don't want this. They love the fact that the elites have it all, and I don't want to say less elites, but the lower colleges, your Baylors, your TCUs. Hell, I'll throw Boise State in there because I still think the fact that they went 3 years without losing, and in bowl games they beat West Virginia and they beat Oklahoma. Yeah, we're never even, I think, nudged above number 4 in the country is a travesty. It is a travesty. And TCU and Baylor both got the shaft this year like that. That's why they don't want the expansion. It's all about money and business.
Yeah, and I love it because Urban says that you need to do that because you think you'll add in more games. You won't add in more games. You take away the stupid games that you're playing that are preseason games. You take them away. You take those 3 games out. You take those 3 games out. Even if you did it this way. Even if you went and expanded the playoffs and you did that. Have the better team play one of the games at home. Take away all the bowls and everything. Keep your bowls. But have them play one of the games at home. Have them fight for something. Have them play for something. Have them play for a home field advantage in one of these games. If you're worried about taking money away from the university, have them play one of these games at home. Have them play a game that means something instead of playing West Cupcake University of Central Michigan.
Let me read something to you. I just pulled Ohio State's schedule. They were 13-1, 8-0 in the Big Ten. They opened with Navy, Virginia Tech. They lost by 2 touchdowns to Virginia Tech. So you've already heard me speak how I feel about them even being considered a team. But then they played Kent State at home. They had an open date. They played Cincinnati at home. Then they played Maryland out of conference game. Then they had an open date. You have 2 open dates in the season and you're concerned or you're worried that you might not get, an extra game or you're worried about that. No. That is solely that they're afraid to spread it out. I guarantee if you ask Nick Saban the same question, he's probably going to say the same thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they just find something to bitch about.
So, I guess because y'all both, and I'm in favor of expanding.
You are playing for a national championship. Who cares how many games that you got to play to get there? You are playing for a title. That means you've been better than everybody else you're playing so far. Who cares that they expanded? Prove it on the field. That's what everybody wants. That's what you should want as a coach, to prove it on the field. Now you're getting your chance, and now you're like, oh, we don't need to go. Screw that.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here, and I'm actually reading this. Now y'all both seem like y'all agrees with expanding this, so how much?
It should go to 8.
You think?
And I think it'll go to 8. I think it'll go to 8 pretty fast.
All right, and
I'd go as far as say by 2018 we're at the 8-game playoff.
Yeah, I think it'll get there pretty quick.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind because y'all said there's at least cover the major conferences.
Well, just look at the 8 teams you would have had this year.
Mm-hmm.
You would have had your top 4. Then you would have had
Texas Tech. Texas Christian.
You would have had TCU. You would have had Baylor.
Baylor.
You would have had probably Mississippi State. Ole Miss.
Now, Mississippi State dropped hard because they lost to Ole Miss.
Well, you would have had the 8 teams that were the top 8 going into it.
Well, let me pull up.
So you're looking at that. You would have had your top 8 teams with your top 2 teams getting a week off.
I'm actually okay with because I think eventually we'll get to 8, but I don't mind the top teams having a bye.
I think you earned it. To be honest with you, I feel you earned it. If you get a bye, you earned it.
Yeah, so I don't mind going to 6 teams and it's getting a bye. So you go to a bye for the top 2 teams, and then make the other teams play 4, and then
you would have had 8 teams. That means you would have had You would have had the top
All right.
top two already going. So you would have
Here's
had
the
three.
8 you would have
Yeah.
had: Alabama, Oregon, Florida State, Ohio State, Baylor, TCU.